Welcome back to Skytech-Lens. Panic swept through Washington after reports emerged that India had abruptly paused talks on a $3.6 billion US defense deal, sending shockwaves through the corridors of power. The news caught officials off guard, raising immediate concerns about the future of one of the most significant arms agreements between the two countries in recent years. At the heart of the deal were 6 Boeing P-81 maritime patrol aircraft, high-tech planes crucial for tracking submarines and monitoring vast stretches of the Indian Ocean. These aircraft are not just hardware, they represent a strategic leap in India's maritime surveillance capabilities and a deepening of military cooperation with the US. The timing of the freeze couldn't have been worse. The announcement came just as the Trump administration imposed a steep 25% tariff on a range of Indian goods, igniting a fresh round of trade tensions. The move was seen as a direct challenge to India's economic interests, and the defense deal quickly became entangled in a broader dispute over tariffs and trade policy. For both nations, this deal was more than a transaction. It symbolized growing trust, shared security goals, and a strategic alignment in the Indo-Pacific. Its sudden jeopardy sent alarm bells ringing through the Pentagon and State Department, where officials scrambled to assess the fallout and salvage the partnership. The core fear was clear. If a trade dispute could so easily threaten a critical defense agreement, how resilient was the US-India partnership, especially with China watching every move? The episode raised uncomfortable questions about the strength of the alliance in the face of economic friction and regional rivalry. For American defense contractors, the uncertainty was more than a diplomatic headache. It threatened billions of dollars in future orders, years of planning, and the jobs of thousands of workers. The stakes were enormous, and the industry watched anxiously as negotiations teetered on the brink. Ultimately, the incident exposed just how fragile even the most celebrated alliances can be when economic and security interests collide. It was a stark reminder that in the world of international relations, trust can be tested in an instant, and the consequences can reverberate far beyond the negotiating table. The Indo-Pacific isn't just geography, it's the world's strategic chessboard where every defense deal and diplomatic gesture has global consequences. The US relies on India's growing military power to help secure vital sea lanes and counterbalance China. Any disruption in US-India defense trade isn't just business, it's a direct threat to regional stability. A pause in cooperation, even if brief, signals disunity and emboldens rivals. Allies like Japan and Australia watch these moves closely, gauging America's reliability. If trade disputes can disrupt defense ties, confidence in the US alliance system erodes, pushing partners to hedge their bets. In this high-stakes region, seamless defense collaboration is essential to maintaining order and deterring conflict. The supposed pause in the defense deal didn't come from official channels, nor was it announced in any formal statement or press release. Instead, the first whispers of trouble emerged quietly, circulating behind closed doors and through unofficial back channels. These rumors, attributed to anonymous leaks, were quickly picked up and amplified by global media outlets hungry for breaking news. Journalists, relying on unnamed sources, published stories that soon dominated headlines, blurring the line between speculation and fact. Reuters, one of the world's most influential news agencies, reported that India had informally halted talks to signal its displeasure over new US tariffs. This single report was enough to spark a media frenzy, with other outlets quickly following suit and echoing the same narrative. The rumor fit perfectly into an existing narrative of growing friction between the US and India. With tensions already simmering, the story seemed instantly believable, and was widely accepted by the public, analysts, and even some officials. Such speculation is dangerous, especially in the world of international relations. It can trigger real-world consequences as companies, investors, and governments scramble to respond to perceived instability. Markets can react sharply, and policy decisions may be made based on incomplete or inaccurate information. In this case, the rumor itself became a destabilizing event. It eroded trust between negotiating parties, forced decision-makers to respond to uncertainty rather than facts, and created an atmosphere of suspicion that lingered long after the initial report. In today's digital age, misinformation and rumors can spread across the globe in seconds, often much faster than any official denial or clarification. Social media, online news, and instant messaging amplify these stories, shaping public perception before the truth has a chance to emerge. In diplomacy, even a single unverified report can ignite a crisis, leaving confusion, mistrust, and damaged relationships in its wake. The lesson is clear. In a world driven by information, the source and accuracy of every story matter more than ever. In the wake of mounting speculation and a flurry of media reports, India's Ministry of Defense moved quickly to contain the fallout. Within hours, they issued a swift, unequivocal denial, calling reports of a pause in defense cooperation false and fabricated. The official statement was released on government letterhead and echoed by spokespersons at a hastily arranged press conference, aiming to project confidence and control. The government's response was not just about setting the record straight, it was a calculated effort to prevent panic from spreading among both domestic and international audiences. The message was clear and deliberate. Despite ongoing trade tensions and swirling rumors, defense ties with the United States remained steady and robust. Indian and American officials continued to meet, signaling that the partnership was not only intact, but actively maintained at the highest levels. This public rebuttal was carefully crafted to reassure not just Washington, but also India's domestic audience and regional partners. By addressing the issue head-on, Indian officials sought to demonstrate that the country's strategic priorities were unchanged, and that its commitment to key alliances remained unwavering. The denial also served as a signal to the broader Indo-Pacific community. For countries invested in regional stability and initiatives like the Quad, India's message was clear. The US-India partnership was not only intact, but vital for the shared vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific. Yet, the very need for such a forceful and immediate denial revealed underlying strains in the relationship. Behind the scenes, officials on both sides were aware that trust, once shaken, is not easily restored. While the government's statement managed to calm immediate fears and restore a sense of normalcy, it couldn't fully erase the doubts that had surfaced about the partnership's long-term resilience. Questions lingered in diplomatic circles and among analysts. In the end, the episode left a lingering sense that, beneath the surface, trust between the world's two largest democracies was more fragile than it appeared, reminding all parties that even the strongest alliances require constant attention and care. The situation grew murkier as official denials clashed with persistent media reports citing unnamed Indian officials who insisted an informal pause was real. This dual narrative, public reassurance versus private discontent, created a fog of uncertainty. Such ambiguity is a classic diplomatic tactic, allowing both sides to send mixed signals without a public rupture. For defense companies, the confusion was costly. Should they proceed or hold back? Regional allies, too, were left guessing about the true state of the US-India partnership. When words and actions don't align, trust erodes and adversaries may exploit the confusion. The episode showed that even if the deal moves forward, the damage from conflicting signals can linger. In diplomacy, clarity is as important as action. The turmoil over the $3.6 billion deal revealed how trade policy can disrupt even the closest security partnerships. US tariffs on Indian goods, meant to pressure over Russian oil purchases, spilled over into defense ties, undermining trust. For India, punitive tariffs from a strategic partner felt like betrayal, hardening positions on both trade and defense. Rising costs and uncertainty made US equipment less attractive, pushing India to consider alternatives from France, Israel, or Russia. The episode exposed a core tension in US policy. Economic and strategic goals often clash, weakening alliances. Defense and trade are inseparable. Instability in one undermines the other. In the Indo-Pacific, a stable trade relationship is the bedrock of reliable security cooperation. The uncertainty rippled from US defense factories to the Indo-Pacific's front lines. For companies like Boeing, even a rumor of a pause disrupts supply chains, delays production, and raises costs. Delays in delivering critical equipment like the P-81 aircraft create operational gaps for India, weakening its security posture. The real casualty is trust. Defense partnerships depend on reliability and clear communication. Eroded trust makes future deals harder and strains military-to-military cooperation. The ripple effect extends beyond the US and India, unsettling allies and emboldening adversaries. When defense deliveries stall, the symbolic strength of the alliance fades. Uncertainty undermines planning, delays modernization, and weakens regional deterrence. To restore confidence, both nations need more than verbal assurances. They need concrete, transparent action. The US could provide India with a clear, written timeline for defense deliveries, cutting through speculation and restoring certainty. Such a move would reassure India, empower US manufacturers, and signal unwavering commitment to regional partners. The episode also highlights the need for integrated foreign policy. where trade, defense, and energy strategies align. Addressing the root causes like energy dependence could prevent future crises. If confusion persists, India may diversify its defense ties, weakening the US-India alliance. But with clarity and follow-through, this crisis could become a turning point, proving that trust is built on action, not just words. Thanks for watching a video, and subscribe the channel now for more updates. Thanks.